Mr. Provost and Deputy Vice-Chancellor, may I present Diane Reay, a candidate for the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters. Diane was born on a Leicestershire council estate, the eldest of 8 children. She had free school meals throughout her school days. It seemed to Diane that she had to work twice as hard as her middle-class fellow pupils to achieve the same result. The hallmarks of Diane's childhood were defiance, opposition, and a passionate belief in socialism. From her primary school days, Diane wanted to be a Labour MP. She can remember her dad pointing out George Brown, the MP for a neighbouring constituency, in a local pub. He had worked his way up. Her dad told Diane, "You might be a girl, but you are clever, so if George Brown has managed to become an MP, so can you." Diane did not become a Labour MP, but she was indeed a very clever girl who went to Newcastle University to study politics and then stayed on to do a postgraduate certificate in education. Diane started teaching working-class children in an inner London state primary school. She had a passionate belief that she could make a difference to the lives of her pupils. But despite these difficulties, the task of compensating for deficiencies in society was too big. Diane decided that she needed to understand the underlying causes of low self-esteem and achievement of working-class children. She completed an MA in Human Rights and Education at the University of London and a PhD in Social Sciences at the University of the South Bank. After 20 years as a teacher, Diane was now a sociologist. Diane became a professor of education at the University of Cambridge. Her research topics are the sociology of education, social class theory, race, ethnicity in education. Social justice in education is the theme behind all of Diane's work. In 2017, she published a book. Here it is. It's called Miseducation, which presented a view of 21st century education and the working classes. This was the result of over 500 interviews with pupils in schools around the country. One fact Diane reports is that children in the United Kingdom are the most tested in the world. The tendency to teach to the test restricts the curriculum with the emphasis on rote learning, which demotivates teachers and pupils, leading to bad behavior and stress. Indeed, in some schools, no books are used in English literature, and only worksheets to improve fundamental language skills are used. Diane's conclusions are that the inequality in education reflects a very wide gap between rich and poor in British society. Something like 5 million children live in poverty in the UK, and until this fundamental reality is addressed, then an education system that is fair to the working class is not possible. This book had a major impact on all those interested in education and social justice. It is often said that our politicians have no real experience of the way in which many people live in this country. One reviewer of Diane's book said that it was passionate, provocative, and deeply troubling. It examines contemporary working-class education and should be required reading for politicians from both the left and especially the right. The French sociologist Bourdieu developed deep theoretical insights analyzing French and Algerian societies. In seeking to interpret her data on British education, Diane applied Bourdieu theory to the problem. The 3 main concepts are habitus, that is the taste and attributes of the individual expressed by language, dress, and cultural knowledge; the field, that is the environment in which the individual finds him or herself, for example, the home or the school; and the cultural capital, the value a person's cultural knowledge has within a field. Taking an example, working-class pupils in a school would express themselves in language, dress, and culture of the working class. In the field of the home, these attributes could be quite acceptable, and of high cultural values. But in the environment of the school, they may not be acceptable and therefore are likely to be of low cultural capital. Diane is a leading scholar in the application of Bourdieu concepts in education. She has published over 50 articles developing these ideas to show how class inequalities are always effective, emotionally, culturally, as well as economically. Diane has carried out many Research Council-funded projects, most recently on comprehensive schooling and the experience of working-class students in higher education. In conclusion, I think we can agree with Diane's father that she is indeed a very bright girl who could well have worked her way up to be a Labour MP or even leader of the Labour Party. Instead, Diane Reay is a leading sociologist in the field of equality in education, and her published work has had a major impact on the way we view and experience many children in school today. Mr. Provost and Deputy Vice-Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate and Council, may I present Diane Reay that you may confer upon her the honorary degree of Doctor of Letters.
This is going to be short and sweet. It's far too hot. Deputy Vice-Chancellor, graduates, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for being here today and taking part in this award ceremony. It's with huge pleasure that I accept this honorary doctorate. I take a great deal of pleasure in receiving an award from the University of Leicester. It was my local university when I was growing up, and I spent many pleasurable hours in the city as a teenager. I don't know if you still have the Burlesque and Bailey's nightclubs, but they were legends in the 1960s and 70s. I'd also like to express my gratitude to Pierre Bourdieu, the most cited social scientist in the world, whose work on inequality has added so much richness to my own work. We all need access to ideas that enrich and challenge our own thinking, and his work has always been brilliant at achieving that for me. I would also like to thank the orator Paul Jenkins for splendidly summarising my scholarship over the years. He mentioned my father, and I must say, I think my dad, if he were here, would be able to say that I've surpassed his ambition for me to be as successful as George Brown, who was our local MP. Although I also think he'd tell me to get a bloody move on and do more political campaigning to get this appalling Tory government out. I'd like to finish by congratulating all you graduands and graduates. I'm sure that you, like me, are all enormously proud to be part of this great and wonderfully diverse university. Thank you very much indeed.